The Bongo Racers are at Nürburgring for a 45-minute race, and I'm just back from there in real life. And they're off, down past the Mercedes stand. There's me on the roof, down to the Castrol S for the first time, and it's gonna be disaster. Steve Hughes outbreaks himself in the AMG to the embarrassment of the German grandstand, and with one gentle tap to the back of Laurent Morel, causes the last thing that anyone wants to happen on the first lap. Still, there's still some good fortune to be found by the main victim Laurent, as a lucky tap points him back onto the racing line. Davy Mack, the canny old dog, tiptoes through the daisies and scarpers off into the lead with Laurel right behind him. As we dust ourselves off, it's all wonderfully close, with a pack of 5 scrapping for 5th. The top 4 head to Dunlop for the first time: Davy Mack, Laurent Merle, Mark Heeley and Zahir in his AMG. But no, Zahir whacks Mark right on his rear Viagra and spins the super quick Mark Heeley onto the grass. Zahir does the correct thing, takes it on the chin and waits for Mark's rejoin. The lucky Laurent is driving his Lambo like he stole it and is doing his best to hold on to Davy Mack. But the Scotchman is no timorous wee beastie, he's pulling away with ease. I find myself clawing my way into a battle for 3rd with Mr. Hughes and Mr. Berg in his "You Shall Not Pass" Ferrari. Meanwhile, Mark Heeley is on a recovery drive and is starting to drag himself and his Ferrari back into the race. His first target is Jason Powell, and he slices up the inside under braking coming into Castrol. Nice move. His next target is just ahead, and he starts the cruise up through the Schumacher S onto the back of the also liveried Bongo Racing Ferrari of Chris Mogg. Chris is battling with Travis Cook in the remaining Porsche and has no answer to the charging 61-year-old. He gets a cracking exit out of Vidal and makes his move hugging tight around the Coca-Cola curve. It's the real thing. Travis Cook puts up no battle at all to the charging Heeley. He parks the car and goes off for a swim. Old folk are just so random. Is there no stopping this man? Mark has moved from 15th up to 7th with 6 plates in his sights and once again employs the Heeley hatchet at Castrol up the inside of the superbly driving Peter Archer. Back up the grid, and the battle for 3rd has now turned into a battle for 2nd, and the 3 musketeers of Tate, Mogg and Hughes close down the mighty Lambo of Morel. It's all kicking off as Tate takes the tight line out of the first corner and tries to stick it around the outside of Chris Mogg. Can he hold it? That'll be a no. Still, the fight goes on, and Laurent and the Lamborghini look to be in trouble and under threat. Just listen to that beautiful sound. The Fantastic Four sound like dive bombers as they head out on another lap. Something has got to give. Has the perfectly coiffured Frenchman used too much of his tyres? Will Steve crack under the pressure in the AMG? Or will the prophecy of "Thou shalt not pass" on the back of Mr. Berg's Ferrari mess with Robin's little brain? Time will tell. And it's Lambo Man who makes the first move. He dives into the pits for a very early pit stop, and the 4 become 3. Steve Hughes now in the 2nd spot, closely followed by Chris Mogg and myself, holding on for dear life. It's at times like these when the threads of life slip through my fingers and my past mistakes flash before my eyes. And this allows Mark Heeley, on his charge to the front, to drift on by with his signature chuckle. Davy Mack has pulled out a 20-second lead, and he's stopping for a wee cup of tea and a Tunic's tea cake and still be out in front. Mark has now pulled up behind Steve. Both have been in the wars, and there's more to come. Steve's big AMG jumps onto the AstroTurf in a little bit of understeer that then swings the car into Mark's path. The kettle has boiled and Davy heads to the pits for his tea. After the round of pit stops are over, unless he decides to get out for some neeps and tatties, he will retain the lead. Amazingly, this now elevates Mark Heeley into 1st, with yours truly in 2nd and a battered Steve Hughes in 3rd. Peter Archer is putting in a fab drive in an excellent 4th on the road. Pete Mogg smells Dave's tasty grub and heads to the pits for a plate or 2. Sadly for him, Dave ate the lot as he heads back onto track, soon to slip back into his epic 1st place. It's hammer time for me as my pit stop window approaches, and I make up some good ground on Mark Heeley as he peels off to the pits for his mandatory stop. I take my glory where I can. enjoying having first position on the road for a short time. As Mark exits the pits, he slots behind the Berg and plans his strategy of world domination while all but Dave look on in wonder. I've pushed like Ian Wright was chasing me down a dark alley, and into the pits I go. And even though I speed up the video by 600% for the fastest 25-second pit stop ever, I still can't come out ahead of Mark Heeley. I head out back onto track in a solid 4th place with a good gap behind to the loony Lauren in the Lambo behind me. All I need to do now is take it steady and bring her home. Of course, I have to make it complicated. My 8-second lead back to Laurent has now been cut to 4, and the Lambo man has a plan. Dave continues his stellar drive out front and is pacing himself well. The gap back to Mark is now down to 12 seconds, but with only a few laps to go, it's looking really, really good for the Mac. I can't stress how much I've been impressed with Mark in this race. Caught up in the first corner debacle, hit in his delicate Viagra by Zahir, and punted by Steve in a tragic case of HCS, or holy crap Steve! Mr. Berg has driven his Ferrari into a solid 3rd place, keeping himself out of trouble as he heads out on his last lap. As for me, I'm still running for my life. After 2 stupid Robin errors, this race is a missed opportunity for me. But now, I just have to keep ahead of Laurent as he hunts me down. The 8-second gap is now 4 and gets down to below a second before I manage to stabilise the situation. Davy Mac brings his AMG home in a well-deserved 1st place, showing the rest of the field a clean set of heels for the full 45 minutes. An absolutely flawless drive. Well done, Dave. Mark Heeley has driven his socks off, bringing his Ferrari home in 2nd. And Mr. Berg secures a solid 3rd, and I manage to hold off Laurent to grab a fluky 4th. Steve Hughes brings his car home in 7th. A tough race for Steve. Better luck next time, fella. But Peter Archer secures his 6th place on a great drive. A messy, but overall a fantastic night's racing for the Bongo Racers. Come and get involved, follow the link to our Discord in the notes of this video, and come and join the fun with these wonderful old guys racing GT3 cars. See you on track.
Then he waddled away.